All right, welcome back to Cryptocosm, everybody. The only astrology cryptocurrency news station online.
That's right. You heard it here. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
You heard it first.
Woo!
What are we talking? No, let's just jump straight into some of this astrology stuff. The exact square of Mercury to Saturn was on the 23rd. The 24th, we had the full moon. This exact square of Sun to Saturn was on the 25th, and it ended very, very, very late at the night, almost the 26th, depending on where you are in the world. And just as that, as we call it the Saturn squeeze, and just as it ended late last night into early this morning, everything comes back up. You know, the Saturn squeeze is in effect. It hit the market on the 23rd, it dropped us right down, and now we're coming back into the green. And we've got stuff moving up. We've got,
baby.
like what we were just talking, Bitcoin Cash just went almost 30% in a matter of hours. 30% up. Like, we are looking good. We're looking really good. Do we have a chart going on?
Oh, let's get it up right here. So, you know, and I thought to myself, we always show these very simple TA charts, but you know what? You don't really need a whole lot when the planets are involved. So here we're just showing a basic descending triangle pattern / bull flag, and it looks like we are just getting so close to breaking out of this pattern. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been waiting about 10 months. Yep, 10 months for this to be happening. And it's just around the corner. It's just around the corner. I think when we actually break out of this, I will probably stop whatever it is that I'm doing, rush to the studio, get this guy right here, and talk about it. Because we're days away. And if anything, I expect to maybe see another bounce at 6,300 and then home free. Now we said we have the things in the sky clearing up. Now we see this pattern now extending for some bit of time, yes? Tell me a little bit about that.
We're definitely looking in the green. Next month, I don't want to jump dates too far ahead. Next month we have some possible, hey, this could be some hard aspects. We do.
It's ebb and flow.
Yeah, we absolutely have them coming next month, but I don't think they're going to be bringing us back down to where we're at or knocking us back down like we did during the eclipse season.
No.
I don't think we're going to be hitting those low lows again. Is it going to be a tug of war? Absolutely. But we have this kind of great space right now for some green. And just next week, if my math is right, on the October 5th, which is next Friday, not this Friday, but the following Friday, okay, is the beginning of the Venus retrograde, which we've been talking about on the show for a while now. Now, we have too much to talk about today, so we're absolutely going to show that video next week on what happens, and we're going to talk about the Fibonacci sequence, the Fibonacci TA, and how Venus lines up within the Fibonacci, the TA, and why that is our money planet. So, but before we get into those, again, we'll kind of talk back about that further next week. But just to talk about what that is, what's coming up, is that when we have Venus retrograding, okay, it's like, why do I love what I love? Why do I spend the money on the things I spend my money on? When Mercury retrogrades, which happens 3 times a year, it's intellectual. It's our mind. It's also, yes, how we trade goods and information, the trading of information. Again, that's why your emails, you're driving to and from work, things like that are, the Mercury retrograde. But the Venus is all about how we spend money, and the things that we're attracted to. And where this is lining up in the sky is also, it's kind of tickling Uranus, saying like, let's think of something different. Like we're going to buy a zebra instead of just a house cat. You're like, wow, that's crazy. Or I'm going to invest in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency instead of stocks because it seems trendy. It seems like it's the right time to do it. Did I miss the boat? No, we're at a really good buying price right now because last year it hit $20,000. If it does it again, well, I'm more than doubled my money. So it looks really interesting right now. It looks really positive that this Venus retrograde is going to be spending some money in our pool.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I asked about the space because we have a lot of news coming up that is just, it just makes Bitcoin ETF seem about this big. A lot coming up. So I want to start off with Google. Google.
The Google.
Google. This isn't the big one, but Google has now just decided to lift their ban on ads in the US and in Japan across the board. Now, there's going to be some slight regulations to this, but it's almost in its entirety, and they're still working out some things here, but we're going to see a lot more exposure. It's going to help with the social media hype. It's going to help spread the word about these things. And as these things, especially the big things, it's funny because they shut it all down, but when the NYSE is ready to release their stock exchange, the NASDAQ is ready to release their stock exchange. Oh, magically, you know what? Google just decides to allow these big exchanges to come forward now and with the big guns. So that's just kind of an interesting lineup and on how that plays out. Now, Coinbase also is now introducing a form-like process. So individuals can come in. If you have a coin, you could fill out their list, and it'll go through this automated process, kind of like they do with job applications nowadays. It'll figure out where your coin is legally able to be bought and sold. And then they're going to have some sort of mechanism behind the scenes to release these coins to their platform. Now, Coinbase only has 5 coins, but they've been the leader in user experience and ease of use. And that is huge in this space. I mean, all the individuals that I consult with, it's just like, you have to start here. I mean, there is no easier way to just point and click your way around the cryptocurrency. And when the floodgates open, and now that they have merchant processing, they have institutional, they have the crypto vaults now in Coinbase. So their expansion, they're getting all the utilities, and now they're getting ready for massive amounts or different types of cryptocurrencies coming out. They got to be able to compete with Binance and Gemini and Kraken and all of these other exchanges. Otherwise, I mean, they're just going to be kind of second best. I mean, yeah, you could do a lot with those 5 currencies, sure, but there's so much more money to be made. So much more money to be made.
I kind of do like on the other side, that there's only a few to choose from over here. As it limits, there is 1,600 coins right now, 1,600 different possibilities, and the average life expectancy is 1.5 years of those. So I do like that Coinbase is like, well, we're going to take our time and kind of cherry pick, so that way that they're not opening up a kind of a crap coin to the masses, and all of a sudden people have invested in this and put their money in, and they've trust, because that's what we're still doing, is building trust here right now. And yes, I absolutely agree, but I do kind of like that.
I could see that.
They're building this trust right now with people to say, hey, this isn't going anywhere. You didn't just dump a bunch of money in, and now 1.5 years later, that coin just dead.
Yeah, and I get that, but unfortunately, I come from the understanding of business has no heart. So when we see Coinbase looking at, we only made $2.3 billion this year, but Binance made, 3 times as much. And I think that's their direction. I mean, Novograds and things like that, I mean, they're the ballers. They want to chase that green, unfortunately. While I like the idea of having the top 5 coins on there, and it kind of gives a stability to those coins, like you said, it helps build that trust. But that's not to say that somebody's going to come behind it and be, Coinbase 2.0 or next generation Coinbase, where we're going to see some of these same things, and the pattern sort of repeats itself. So interesting how we watch these evolutions with these exchanges and these coins. I mean, a lot is going to be changing so fast and so quickly. It's difficult to keep up. It really, really is.
It's true.
Man, oh man. Speaking of difficult to keep up, let's talk about Lightning Network.
Let's talk about Lightning Network.
Man, oh man, this conversation should go in so many different ways. But the one that caught my eye just today was that Stellar XLM. Yep, let me get that right. Some of these abbreviations get modge podged in the brain after a while.
Stellar. They need to have a sweet logo.
They got the rocket ship, man. I love it, dude. I love it.
To the moon,
To the
Alice.
moon, baby. And they're all set to go with the Lightning Network. They don't have any doubts. They seem very confident in pushing forward with the Lightning Network in December.
December. So buying Christmas presents with Stellar.
I've already bought my Christmas presents. I am good to go. The rest I can dump into crypto. I'm pretty excited about this point. So, I mean, you think about buy the rumor, sell the news. I want to talk about that point real quick. When do we buy the rumor? Well,
right.
or how far away is the rumor technically from the actual
So buy now and sell in December. Is that what they're saying?
Right. So it's interesting, and I've played with this idea quite a bit, and it almost seems like well, you could buy the rumor a year ago, of course, and it's like, oh well, next year, beginning of next year, of course, right? Like that's when the rumor started. But then people are like, it's a year. You know what? I got time. So I personally, I have found, now this is not financial advice, this is just what works for me or what necessarily hasn't worked for me before, is about 2 months beforehand. I like the sweet spot of getting in about 2 months beforehand, before the news. So not necessarily buying the rumor when that rumor is started, but looking at it from about 2 months ahead of when the news is going to be released. Just want to throw that out there. You know what? See what works for you. If you guys have noticed some other patterns, leave a comment. Let's let everybody in on the secret. We can all make money together on this. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know.
I like it. So it's like saying once this comes out, then the people kind of rush to a little bit. Then some people are going to pull out a little bit because they've made that little bump. And then you can buy back in cheaper. And then right before it's going to be huge, and then pull out. Is that basically kind of?
Absolutely. So you have to be. It's a very sensitive. I mean, you got to watch it too. I mean, it's not like something you can just throw in there and kind of come back in a couple of weeks and you look back and you're like, oh, I made money. I mean, it's a time sensitive way of investing. And when you're talking about sell the news, it's like, do you wait to sell your substratum when they're talking about canceling the internet throttling? The internet throttling.
Right.
Net neutrality. There we go. Do we wait till they come on CNN and they're like, oh, we just canceled net neutrality? Is that when we sell or is that when we buy? I like the idea of going about 3 days beforehand. So it's really interesting, especially in terms of these big giant trading machines, these high, they call it high velocity training, where they have the supercomputers coming out and bots all going up and down with Fibonacci sequences and things like this. It's like they're all set to work on patterns, all set to work on psychological levels of trading. It's like, well, before we get to 20,000, what did we get to? We got to about 19,800 and something. So it's like they're almost like 2 steps behind that psychological resistance level. And it's like, I like to go 3 steps behind, so I'm like 1 step behind the supercomputers or the group. I'll take a little bit less to try and ensure that I get a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I like to mitigate my risk and try to stay ahead of that curve and ahead of those high velocity traders and things like that. Because these are just big groups. Because once that triggers, boom. I mean, the massive drops that we incur is just insane.
The last big one we'd seen was really with Lisk, I feel like. Lisk was right up there at 25, 28, maybe getting close to 30. They're rebranding.
37.
Boom, okay. Was it really? And then boom, and now it's sitting pretty at about 350, 370, somewhere around there.
And that was 3 days, count it, 3 days before the actual rebranding. And the price didn't really start climbing till about 2 months. Now, I got in a little bit too late, and I got out a little bit too late. So I definitely didn't make as much money as I wanted to.
So these numbers are experience right here.
And that's what I'm saying. So like I said, if you guys have those experiences, drop them in the comments. Share with us, how you guys have experienced buying the rumor and selling the news. I would love to hear from you guys. And also to spread the word. Spread the word.
Good word.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Now, this is a good word.
Bakkt.
Ooh, I love that word.
Bakkt.
That is the good word.
You know, I got a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings about Bakkt as a whole, but there's a giant part of me that just wants to dedicate a portion of my life to figure out how we can use crypto and all of its wonderfulness by itself without any big giant party. But we're not there yet. So right now, Bakkt is going to be the mega institution. I'm talking global that links up merchants, it links up individuals, it links up big business. And whatever you could put in whatever you want. You could put in Bitcoin, you could put in Lisk, you could put in Ripple, and they get whatever they want on the other side. Now they're also talking about releasing their own Bitcoin ETF. They're also talking about dipping in and making 401ks available with cryptocurrency. Now that is enormous.
See, that's what I've been talking about for the longest time. Like when we start to really see payroll switch over. Oh, out of the park.
And so the big thing with this is if the institutions want to do this, they have to have a crap ton of Bitcoin on hand. And I don't think that we've seen the point where they have started to gather all that up and put that aside to do what they want to do. I think it's coming. But that's going to be these big institutional players dumping in and getting ready for what is to come. So it's not going to be the little people or even just the single big name investors. It's going to be these giant companies, these 401k companies, these retirement plans, and things like this coming in and scooping up and being able to have all of that cryptocurrency ready and available to even be able to offer something like this. And that's just like, okay, pull the trigger, go. Like,
right. We're in now.
Did you see it? I can't see it anymore. It's up there, but I think that's what's going to happen. And there's a lot of people out there talking about right now how that could happen in October, late October, and beginning of November. The $50,000 Bitcoin is not entirely off the table for this year, they say.
And that's seriously when these astrological events really start to look like, okay, that's really when everything's going to open up. I mean, during the Venus retrograde, we do have Venus squaring Mars 2 more times. You know, that's friction. So although this is it is an exciting time. It only happens once every about a year and a half when that happens. And again, it is usually people want to spend money to make themselves feel happy. You know, like, oh, there's something different. But it's like magnified. It's magnified during that time, right?
It feels so good.
Right. But for the last few things that we have at the end of this year here, we just finished, we have a few more squares. So we have the Sun and Mercury moving about the same speed through Libra right now. They're going to square Pluto up there in Capricorn, in late degrees Capricorn in a couple weeks. And then they're going to move into Scorpio, okay? Shared resources, other people's money. And at that time, Venus is going backward, retrograde, and then they're all going to kind of meet together in Scorpio. That's when we're going to see this really cool aspect between the Sun and Venus that happens. And we'll show you that video. And then they square Mars. And then that's it. So it's just like at the end of October, all these squares, the hard aspects are over. And we have these like 2 months before the conjunction of Saturn, the conjunction of Pluto, the conjunction of Mars. But these are all really positive things going up to the end of the year. So as it's like, whatever this news is saying, wherever they're getting their information, it is absolutely perfectly lining up with what that is going on upstairs as far as just like the pressure that we see on the mass level and how this affects human nature.
I'm excited, guys. I mean, just today alone, we see the altcoins rise anywhere from 2 to 7, 8, 9, 10%, even a couple of them. And I think
over 20% on Bitcoin Cash. Are you kidding me?
Woo!
It ain't dead. It ain't dead.
So I did go in and I there were a few coins that I was looking at and Ripple was one that I was looking at but have not purchased yet. I still think there's a little bit of time.
27 cents to 57 cents in a matter of days.
Doubled
it's too much.
up.
It's too much.
More than doubled up. I think it hit almost as high as 80 cents for a split second.
What?
On some exchanges.
Oh.
So you don't normally see it because when it shoots up and it shoots right back down because people are pulling in profits and they're triggering other people's stop loss or limit orders. So these things can go up and peak, and you get to just that little hair on the candlestick. So that's what that is when that happens, when you see just this long line coming out of this, you know, green little brick. So we're getting these just bombs of individuals coming in and buying, but it's also triggering all those individuals that are like, oh, that's the price I wanted. Yep, I'm selling. And it goes, whoo, like
well,
that.
it's easy. If you bought in, if you put $1,000, or if you put more in, whatever it is, at 27 cents, and you just hit 57 cents, I mean, you're doubling up. Just pull it right out.
I'll take that.
Sweet. Throw it into Tether. Easy. Didn't lose anything. And it's so clear too today, like when you're looking at it and then you see Tether's down and then everything is green. So it's like, it's so obvious. Everyone's just like, pull out, dump into Tether, wait for the prices to go. Okay, looks good. Buy in, profit, dump into Tether. Like,
So I still think Ripple has a couple days of consolidation because it was just way too fast. Way too fast. But there's some other ones I suggest to you guys to check into some of the charts of Ontology, of Icon. I mean, there's quite a few out there that are looking pretty good. So do a little bit of research, see what works for you guys. If you guys got something that you're looking at that feels hot right now, like I said, drop us another comment down below and we'll have a look as well.
VeChain's even looking good now. It's dropped back down again to like 0.012, somewhere around there, 0.013, which is cool. And for anyone trying to jump into the privacy coin at a low price, Verge is showing some interesting signs. I mean,
Do my ears deceive me?
I mean, there's still some buzz about it. It's interesting. They've burned some bridges. They've shaken some interesting dirty hands. They've well, just questionably how clean they are. Doesn't mean they're dirty hands. But there's still some buzz and rumor about them, and they're at a really good price point right now. So.
Oh, it's going to be interesting, I mean, I'll save that comment for next time.
Whoa, the mystery.
It'll be interesting. There's a lot that can happen so fast in this world. I mean, even Dogecoin made a couple people millionaires last year, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, it's going to be interesting. Keep your eyes on that top 50. I think it's going to be switching up a lot over the next 6 to 8 weeks, especially if we turn around and do a bull run. Keep your eyes on the volume that is trading on some of these coins, because that is a huge signal of things turning around as well. So don't just look at the price. Keep that volume in mind, and good luck, everybody. I'm all in. I can't wait to see what happens. Woo! Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing, hitting that little bell button down at the bottom so you guys don't miss a beat here on
Cryptocosm.